Hi everyone, welcome back. I have a very different unboxing today. I have, as you can tell, a MacBook Air in front of me. Let me flip it over and give you the specs. This is a 13-inch MacBook Air with the Apple M1 chip. So this has the 8-core CPU, 13.3-inch Retina display. I've got it with the 8 gig of RAM plus 512 gig hard drive. So this weighs less than 1.3 kilos, so very, very light and very, very fabulous. So I thought, why not do a little unboxing with you here? As usual, Apple makes it an experience to open one of their products. So I'm just going to peel off the outside plastic and then we'll dive in to the system itself. I've had this since yesterday. I've had it for like 12 hours. I'm sorry, 24 hours. And I have just resisted the urge to open it because I wanted to do it with you guys. All right, let's dive in. So as you can tell, I got the gold version of this computer and it kind of has a little pink tinge. I'm going to put it to the side for the moment and pull out these other pieces so that I can just put the box to the side. So we have a USB-C charging cable, a little booklet that comes with, and our little charging brick. So I'll pop this to the side. I'm going to put it upside down in case I need these notes again. And let's take off these pieces as well. So here we have our MacBook Air booklet, just to tell you all about the system. And as usual, we get the stickers, but these days they're doing their stickers to match the computer. I don't know if that's always been a thing, but I've never had a different colored Mac. So we have these in the gold, and I don't know, tell me what you think, but this has a serious pink tinge to it, don't you think? All right, let's get into the main attraction. I'm gonna open up. Oh, I just love how beautifully protected this little computer is. Look at it, it's so beautiful. Okay, so let's open her up. And it has that fabulous, satisfying sound. Let's take our little screen protector off. And it's automatically booting up for me, which is also a beautiful thing. Oh my goodness, I just adore it. So it has like this peachy kind of tone, I think. It's really beautiful. I didn't get to see it. I've never actually looked at it in store, to be honest. And I didn't get to see it when I picked it up either, because it was a click and collect situation. So we can see here we're being asked.
Use English as the main language. Press the return key.
Obviously I took too long, so she's telling me to hurry up. I'm going to use English as the main language. I should have actually chosen English Australia. So let me see if I can go back. Yes, I can. So I'm going to select English Australia. And now I'm going to select my country. Not Austria, Australia. And it tells me here about the accessibility features to help with vision, motor, hearing, or cognitive. I don't need those right now, thank you. And now I just need to connect to my Wi-Fi. And that's always fun, right? Trying to remember what my password is. So I'll just do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so that took a little while for the Wi-Fi to connect for some reason. But anyway, we're connected and now it's telling me about the data and privacy, and we can learn more, but I have a million Apple products, so I'm okay with that. And then I can transfer information from an existing Mac, Time Machine, or startup disk, or from a Windows PC. I'm going to say not now because I do want to set this up as a brand new Mac, and I'll talk more about that, about my reasons why for that shortly. All right, so I'm just going to sign in with my Apple ID and I'll be right back. So it has just sent a message to my phone and all my other devices to just verify that that was actually me. So I have done that. And now I need to read all the terms and conditions. Alrighty, let's say I did. And we should be almost there. Okay, so there we are. We're creating our computer account in the background. And now we're setting up the iCloud account. Now this is something that I wanted to play with a little because one of the reasons I'm upgrading my computer, well, there's a couple of reasons, and one was that I was mostly gifted this by my brother, which is fantastic, but also my existing MacBook Pro has a very small hard drive, and this one has 512, so I think that's going to help me out a lot. But I'm just not in love with my iCloud settings at the moment. I really need to sort out what is being stored and how to better manage that, because at the moment this is setting up my Find My Mac, so if someone steals it or I lose it in some way, I can use the app to find where it is or to erase it if I needed to erase it, because it does often have quite important things on it. So it says I've signed in with my Apple ID, and it's going to set up a lot of the things for me in the background. So I just want to have a look at the settings to see exactly what that is. So enable location services. Yes, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to share my analytics with Apple as well. And then this is telling me how I can get insights about all those things, which I already do. So that's fine. I could have said yes to that. It does then ask me if I want to enable Siri. Sure, why not? And now I'm going to set up Hey Siri by talking to her. My only concern is that all my other Apple devices are right next to me, so they're probably all going to talk when I'm setting this up. So actually, I might set her up later when I don't have my phone and my iPad and my other computers in earshot, shall we say. I'm not going to share my recordings with Apple. And then finally, I think we're getting close to the end. I shouldn't say finally. This is setting up 5-volt disk encryption, which secures your data by encrypting the contents and locking your screen with a password. And I usually do set that up. Okay, so next is setting up Touch ID. So I'm going to pull out my MacBook Pro and show you the differences between the two in a moment. But what the MacBook Air is missing compared to the MacBook Pro is the touch bar across the top, which gives you quick access to various functions, and they all change depending on which app you have open. It's quite cool, but to be honest, I never use it except maybe for volume and brightness, which are already here in the keys anyway. So I don't actually care. That was one of the things that was pointed out to me was, well, you won't have a touch bar if you buy the MacBook Air, and it's okay. I don't actually need it. So I'm going to set up my Touch ID. It's this little square button here. It's also the on-off button. So I'll press continue, and it's going to tell me to lift and rest my finger repeatedly on the touchpad, and it's just, as you can see, recording my fingerprint. And I just go over and over again, and it says to capture the edges of your fingerprint. So I'm just kind of moving my finger around, and it says it's ready. So I'll say continue. And one thing I will do later is set up a couple of different fingers as well, perhaps just because sometimes you might be holding something, like holding my Apple Pencil, and I might want to use my middle finger or my ring finger to do it. So I'll probably have a go at that later as well. This one is setting up Apple Pay to use Touch ID to pay for things on my computer, and I'm happy to do that. I also use my watch to do it. You get to double click on your watch if you want to. So I'll say yes to that. Okay, so I've added both my cards. Handy hint, have your cards handy if you don't know your CVV codes on the back of the card, because you do have to enter those. Okay, so next up I can choose a look. So it's the light, dark, or auto look. These are all not new to me because I do have a Mac, an iMac and a MacBook Pro already. Light mode is the traditional one. Dark they've introduced, which is pretty sexy. And there is an auto version, which I quite like. It kind of adjusts throughout the day. So I'll select auto for now, and we can move that later if we want to. This one is setting up True Tone display. Your Mac automatically adapts to ambient lighting conditions to make your colors appear consistent. I'm going to leave it turned on. I'll just show you with and without. So I'm going to see without True Tone display. So currently it is showing True Tone. So I'll just hold this button down and it shows you a little bit more blue tone to the screen. So by turning it on, it's warmed it up a little, which is nice. So I'll leave it on. However, if I was editing my photos professionally, like for shoots that I have to do for some clients occasionally, then I would turn that off because I want to see the colors as they really are. So I will leave it on for now because it's nice on the eyes. And here we are. We have our new MacBook Air set up and ready to go. So let's just talk about the computer for a little bit. You can see we have speakers on either side, and they are updated speakers from the previous MacBook Air. We have our beautiful trackpad, which does feel very nice. It's super easy to use, and I don't know, I'm really used to just dragging and scrolling with the trackpad. I use a trackpad on all of my devices. On my iMac, I use a trackpad and a mouse depending on, well, actually sometimes depending on battery life, but often just depending on how I feel. I think I might get a new one actually. So it is, the one I have has batteries in it, whereas I want to get one that has the USB charging. Anyway, I'll close the screen for a moment. It does have FaceTime camera, which is also upgraded, and it's the same as the one that's in the MacBook Pro, the new MacBook Pro. And I just wanted to point out on the sides, we have here our two USB-C ports, no other ports. And if you can see, it has this wedge design, which is different to the MacBook Pro. And I'll come back to that when I bring out the MacBook Pro. And if I turn to the other side, we see we have a headphone jack, no more ports here. So it only comes with the two ports, and those are USB-C. And it also has the little rubber feet on the bottom so that it grips the surface and doesn't move. And can I just say, it's very nice. Okay, let's grab the MacBook Pro. Okay, here's my new MacBook Air, and here beside it is my MacBook Pro. You can see they're pretty similar in size, really. This is the previous model though. Remember, this is not the M1 chip, this is the M1 chip. So this is a 2017 MacBook Pro, and it's in the silver. And I have my Coffee Monsters Co. sticker on there, of course. And I'm going to stand them both up so that you can see the difference in the thickness of the two. So if I just make sure that they're facing the same way, you can see actually my MacBook Pro also has only the two ports input, and that has not been a problem for me. I have a dongle, I have a hub that I attach that has all of the other bits and pieces that I might need, and it's a very powerful little device. So these are identical in terms of height. Actually, no, the MacBook Air is a teeny tiny bit longer this way in the length, and in the width it's the same. But you can see this has the wedge shape, whereas this one is a very squared shape. And they say that the typing experience on the wedge is nicer. You know, people often flick up the back of their keyboards to have that wedge kind of feel to your keyboard. So that's part of the reason why I guess this has that wedge look. But also, if I put them both face down, you'll see that we have these gaps here. Let me just bring that up and show you. We have gaps at either end of the computer, and that, I believe, is where the fan is. So the difference between, another difference between the two systems is that the MacBook Air doesn't have a fan. So what does that mean? I was concerned about buying an Air over a MacBook Pro, having had a Pro for so long. and also the fact that I do edit video and I do edit photographs. So I was concerned about when I bought this computer, they told me not to buy the Air because it wouldn't have the performance capabilities to deal with Photoshop and video editing. However, the MacBook Air and the new MacBook Pro both have the same chip and pretty much the same performance specs. The difference being the fan, from what I've watched a ton of YouTube videos. So from what I've gleaned, having no fan just means that once you've hit peak performance, and the computer starts to heat up, you may lose some of that performance because the computer's getting hot, the chip is getting hot. Whereas in a MacBook Pro, it's kept cool all the time. Now, this really comes into play if you're hardcore editing, gaming, that kind of thing all day, every day. Whereas I typically edit a couple of videos at a time and maybe edit, I don't know, 50 photos at a time. And I really don't think I'm going to hit that problem with this computer. I will let you know. If you're interested in finding out more about that, just let me know, but I will keep track of that because obviously I need to. Oh my goodness, this looks so pink. Obviously, if that's a problem for me, then that is a real problem for me. Okay, so the other things that I know, let me actually first show you inside the two computers side by side so you can have a look at the difference, keeping in mind that this is a 2017 model versus this 2020 M1 chip. So hopefully we've got enough in the frame there for you to see, and you can hopefully see that they're quite similar inside. We have the speakers in the center, the trackpad is bigger on this computer, I think. Let me grab my ruler and we'll check that. Okay, so the trackpad on the MacBook Air is 12 centimeters, and on the MacBook Pro, it is 13.5 centimeters. I'll just go this way as well, just for completeness. We're at nearly 8.5 centimeters that way, and we're a little over 8 centimeters that way. So you can see that the MacBook Pro has a 1.5 centimeter wider trackpad. Makes no difference to me, really. I don't think, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Let's have a look at the rest of it. So you can see here that we have our touch bar at the top of the MacBook Pro. So I'm able to access a bunch of settings here. For example, if I wanted to look at the brightness of the screen, then I can bring that up and down using that. But there's no keys here to do that. So you see all the function keys that are on this computer. There are no function keys on this computer. So if I want to adjust the brightness on here, then I do that with just pressing the keys. So no great hardship. So the other thing I'll talk about while I'm here is that the brightness on the MacBook Air is less than the brightness on the MacBook Pro. So it is, I think it's 100 nits lower in the terms of measuring light output. So I can't see how that might affect me. I'm just going to set the two screens up with the same screen, same desktop, so that we can compare them appropriately. Okay, so I've set up the two screens with the same desktop so that we can compare the two. So if I put this on the highest brightness and this one on the highest brightness, then I can definitely see that this one does have a higher brightness output, which it's only by a little bit. I don't know that really bothers me. I also think that maybe my MacBook Pro doesn't have True Tone display turned on. So I'm also going to adjust that while I'm here as well. Okay, so now they look much more similar to each other because they do have that warmth turned off. So I'm just going to bring them both forward and show you those displays. So hopefully you can see those there. We've got a bit of a deeper color, I think, on the MacBook Pro than we do have on the Air. I haven't really played with it yet, so that may be just a matter of settings that I haven't played with, but I'm pretty happy with it regardless. So let's see what else I can show you here. I actually thought the keyboards would be quite different, but they're not. They look pretty similar to me. I can't really tell anything too dramatic apart from that touch bar not being on this one, but we have the function keys instead. I actually didn't realize we had the function keys, but of course we have to, otherwise how else would be able to control these things that are controlled by those at the top there. Okay, so I'll put away the MacBook Pro for the moment. Oh, so while we're talking about batteries, the MacBook Pro, the new MacBook Pro has 17 hours battery life, and the MacBook Air has 15 hours battery life. So when I heard that the other one had 2 hours more, I thought, oh, maybe I should have got the MacBook Pro. But when I found out the difference was 15 hours and 17 hours, that does not bother me, because I've got a whole 8 hours of sleep in which to charge the computer if I need to. So from what I hear, people who are not casual, but less professional users will typically get quite a few days out of their charge before they need to charge it up, I should say. I just want to show you a couple of accessories now. Not your typical accessories. These are just things that I already had that I'm very excited to be able to use with the computer. So I have here my soft touch pouch in hazelnut from Kiki K. I'm sure you've seen me unbox this on my channel, and I think it's just gorgeous with this color. It's just fabulous. So let's just make sure it fits, which we know it does because the MacBook Pro does. So that is a very nice fit in there. Plenty of space left over for other bits and pieces. And just to show you my Apple ecosystem, I am filming on an iPhone right now. It's my work iPhone. I do have my personal iPhone, which is a Gold 11 Pro. You can see with the 3 cameras. I also have my Apple AirPods with me. I'm currently wearing my watch, which is also, actually this watch is in rose gold. Another gift from my brother. Yes, he is fabulous. So let's just put this all together. We have the gorgeous new MacBook Air. I really love the color. It's a kind of, I think it's rose gold. This is the gold of my iPhone. So that's the Apple gold. And then if I just show you my watch in closer detail, this is a rose gold watch. And I think that rose gold really matches the computer much better than the gold of the phone does. So perhaps, it's called gold on the website, but it definitely has that peachy pink tone to the gold for sure. You can see by comparison with the gold hardware on this pouch that it is quite a different color. Very warm compared to the cool gold here. Okay, so that's my quick unboxing, not quick, but that's my unboxing and walkthrough of my new MacBook Air. I'm super excited to have it. I think it's gorgeous. I can't wait to start using it. I'm going to be using it predominantly for editing video and editing photos. It's going to become my personal computer. I do have the MacBook Pro, as you know, and I'm going to use that while I'm working from home. I'll be using that for work only. So I think the problem I've been having with a 256 gig hard drive over there is that it just fills up so quickly with all my video and photos, and then when I'm working on it as well with my 9-to-5 job, it just struggles to fit anything on there. It doesn't struggle performance-wise. It's still a very powerful computer, but I just run out of space, and I have to keep trying to find things I can delete. So I'm going to reset this. I have to get everything off it that I need, and then I'm going to reset that back to its original settings, factory settings, and then set it up just for work. So that, I think, is the plan for the future. I think that's what I'm going to do. That's the plan so far. So yeah, super excited to get started with it. All right, I think that's enough from me. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this bit of a different video from me this time around. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have this beautiful new M1 chip MacBook Air and how you're going with it if you do have it. All right, guys, thanks again, and I'll see you all super soon. Bye.